Hello, it's Scott Manley here, and today we are looking at the final 1.0 of Everspace. This has been in beta and alpha for a good amount of time, but now you can buy it on Good Old Games and Steam. It's $30. Probably the biggest addition to the 1.0 version is the story.
Something's not right with me. I'm having memory loops. There was a dispute. I was standing in the way of their plans. I was restrained. Shot with something. Who is this? I managed to escape. That's all I can remember. I must find some answers.
Yes, the game has you as a clone remembering memories from previous copies of yourself.
What's my objective?
Reaching your destination.
And where is that?
It's still a long way to go. You will understand more when we get there.
I would prefer some more substance to your answers.
Sure, but the substance of the game is flying around and shooting things in your awesome high-tech spaceship, while occasionally getting snarky comments from your computer.
It appears we have stumbled upon an outlaw base. Scavengers and raiders of every degree ply the demilitarized zone using these hidden structures to launch operations. I would advise caution on approach.
Maybe it's worth the risk.
The computer basically relates the background lore of the game universe.
What am I picking up on the broadcast channel here?
The Okar are a reptilian race with a tendency towards reactive behavior. They are indigenous to the cluster, and the colonials uninvited guests. Distrust runs deep.
It's a bit more than distrust. I mean, the only way to interact with the Okar that I can tell is to shoot them. There are also outlaws, who also you get to shoot. There is a third faction, which are the G&B Mining Corp, and they will all fight each other in space. And sometimes you can, of course, use this to your advantage if you need some allies. This is absolutely a great way of evening the odds when there's lots of enemies around.
Do you reckon there's anything salvageable on this freighter?
Probably, but I would not advise it as it may draw unwanted attention.
Beyond simply shooting things, there's lots of things to pick up, lots of things to find, and beautiful sights to see, because this is a very, very pretty game.
What's this mining outfit I'm registering?
Grady and Brunt Prospects, corporate behemoth and sole legitimate operator in the demilitarized zone. Their monopoly has ensured unchecked expansion. You will encounter their jump gates and mining drones frequently.
The miners are neutral to you, but they will attack you if you decide to try and steal their loot.
You will have extracted raw materials. These are essential for crafting and upgrading, but you will require much more.
There are resources in space for you to collect and acquire, and you can use these to upgrade your weapons or craft things which you have blueprints for. Now, during the game, you will find new blueprints floating in space for all sorts of weapons. And there are a huge number of things to unlock and discover, either through cash from the levels or from finding items in deep space.
Jump gates are the primary method of travel between systems. These were built by Grady and Brunt Prospects for their mining drones to reach areas more efficiently.
Okay, thanks for the introduction. Now, you want me to use this?
It is the only way to the next sector, so, yes.
And so yeah, this is how the game works. You have one procedurally generated sector after the other. You gotta fly around, kill things. You can jump as soon as you have enough fuel. You can even risk jumping without fuel. There's usually about 4 sectors in each zone, and after you've completed them, there is a jump gate at the end which doesn't require fuel. And as you get to higher and higher zones, you will unlock more of the story. And as of course you get to higher and higher zones, the bad guys get tougher and tougher. But that of course is offset by your ability to upgrade within the mission, and upgrade at the end of every mission. Usually you don't need to kill everything within a sector to proceed to the next level, although sometimes you will find jump suppressors. But yes, sometimes you have to make a run for it, trying to dodge fire using the strafe commands to avoid the incoming fire from the hostiles. The game plays very much like a 6 Degree of Freedom first-person shooter. It feels a lot more like Descent than most spaceship games. It is very fast and fluid, but the feel may not appeal to everyone.
Strange. Fragments of memories. Trying to make sense of them. I had managed to escape. was weak and ill. My cells were deteriorating. A deadly poison, a cytotoxin. Slow, relentless, eating me away. There was a way to halt its progress, but it would take time. All I could do was set the wheels in motion and await the outcome in stasis. A long, uncertain sleep.
To be honest, I don't think the story is going to win the game many awards, but it is the main reward for getting further and further into the game.
I saw myself again. Dying.
This must be a memory from your original. Apparently a flaw in the transference protocol. The Eterna system was meant to filter such personal recollections.
Wait, what are you saying? My original? I'm a
clone, yes. Usually this is not realized by limited-use copies. The function of Eterna was to pass on operational skills, such as piloting. But it seems that something has gone wrong here.
Stop. This is a lot to take on board all at once. Why is this happening? Who am I? Who is my original?
I have no information. Perhaps there is a purpose to this aberration which will become clear upon reaching the coordinates given. I have no answers, unfortunately, but I am as curious as you are.
Yeah, the early story often gets interrupted by tutorial pop-ups, so can be kind of frustrating, but I guess the alternative is having the player die in the middle of that. I'm not sure how they should deal with that, but there isn't, as far as I can tell, a way to go back and re-experience sections of the story. Anyway, you'll notice there in the top left that I've just got a bonus for destroying 10 outlaw units in a single run. You'll get these achievements, these challenges that get regenerated after you've completed a new one. You'll have 3 of them active at any one time. But unfortunately, what I found out is they typically end up being the 3 most difficult ones because you complete the easy ones first. Early on in the game, you are probably going to be struggling to make money, and yeah, it is actually one of the big downsides to the game, that the main reason for progressing through the game to hear the story requires a lot of making money during the missions, so that you can hear more story, so that you can go through and die again. You know, I'm not sure that it's as exciting a prospect as I would have liked, to be honest. Everspace is a game that looks absolutely beautiful, it sounds great, the music is great, the flight is fluid and fun. The threats between each level are pretty similar, and you're going to be killing the same ships and being killed by the same ships repeatedly. Of course, that's part of the story. And then after your brutal death in deep space, you will get a report, you'll get some money, you'll spend that money, and you will be back out in deep space.
This is a service station. Do you know what happens in a service station?
I thought I asked the questions here.
Do you?
Refuel?
As you expect, you do buy items with an eye to, of course, crafting better parts for your spaceship during this particular run.
Trade parts?
Learning.
Of course, the reason I snuck in here is because we have a large boss spaceship floating around. Well, this is an Okar Corvette. These are pretty big and badass, and you can see from the green lasers it's spawning at me that yeah, I'm in serious trouble. We've got elite outlaws that I probably shouldn't have killed off because that was attacking that Corvette. Over here you can see a symbol that shows a comm hub which I'll be able to hack.
Lightning in space? How?
Magnetic fields causing friction. An anomaly.
But quite visually striking.
And I do kind of have to agree, Everspace really wins in terms of its looks. I can't stress that enough. The developers have pulled from a whole encyclopedia full of deep space sci-fi tropes, and many scenes could look like the cover of a 70s sci-fi book. It's even more striking when you play it in VR, although the very fast motion does tend to induce motion sickness. I'm just going to point that out right now. I'm playing this with the mouse. It might work better if I could play it with my control stick. There's a mouse option, there is a gamepad option, and that will be, of course, your only way of controlling it if you buy it on a console. Okay, let's see what we can do with this Corvette. Not very much, I suspect. Yeah, there's guns and stuff. I don't think you can attack those individually. I've never managed to destroy them. Yeah, one of the things you will have to learn is just simply to dodge, because this thing moves very fast and you can actually jink around to avoid incoming fire. That will keep you alive longer than any amount of understanding of how to, set up your ship or anything. And I did say that it played like a first-person shooter in space, right down to even using cover strategically. You know, you can hide behind asteroids and take pot shots, pop out to attack things, and then make mad dashes across the space, trying to get to the exit without being killed, so that you can get just another little nugget of the story, so you can get your little reward for having survived one more sector of hostile action. You only get to see the story the first time you go through a particular jump gate, and in this case I'm editing it out because it's more interesting to show the game.
I had another vision. I think I know my name. Adam. Adam Roslin.
Interesting.
Do you have any information on that name?
I do not. But this level of cognizance in a clone is highly unusual. I would like to help you learn more in order to understand how this happened.
Let's find some answers. What can you tell me about the Okar?
A reptilian race. Historically peaceful in nature until the colonials arrived, that is. The perceived threat created existential panic among the species. Their homeworlds lie on the western edges of the Beltograde cluster, although their exact origins are still uncertain.
If you're really interested in all this lore, they do have it offline in the game menu, so you can read it up. As it gets unlocked, as a story unlocks part of it, you can find more stuff if you want to read about it in the Codex. One bug I did encounter was that some sections that appear to have speech don't, and it may be related to whether I have my headphones plugged in or not.
Okay, thanks for the warning.
He has a jump suppressor. This does not bode well.
Warning, we have some major plot on deck.
Who would have thought that outlaws make such good informers? But they were right. You're still alive.
I'm not sure we've been introduced.
It's time for you to pay.
Pay with my life, you mean?
This Seth guy. I remember him vaguely. We're friends, weren't we? Why did he try to kill me?
It should not come as a surprise that most people want to kill you. Only that this one was rather talkative.
Talkative? He accused me of something I did and I can't remember. What have I done? Who am I?
Damn you, Adam! This isn't over yet!
Now that was a curious encounter.
So there are a few scripted encounters which are mixed into the general procedural generated universe. Sometimes you'll get some, sometimes you'll get some major battles actually happening. In this case we have an outlaw drone carrier, and what's firing on it? Well, other than me, those green lasers are coming from an Okar Corvette, which is pretty dangerous, but thankfully they're shooting at the drone. No, they're now starting to shoot at me instead. Let me get out of here.
This big boy looks dangerous.
An Okar Corvette. It is indeed most very likely to be hazardous to your general well-being.
Good thing I'm using this other hideously dangerous spaceship as cover to distract the Okar from myself. Yeah, I mean, you can play all these games. Oh, now they're shooting at me. Okay. And they do seem to be hanging very close to that jump gate, so getting out of here will be interesting. I did ultimately escape that giant battle, only to end up in a sector with a jump suppressor, and with the Okar shooting at me, and then I accidentally made the mining people angry at me, so I basically ended up with everybody shooting at me, and that didn't last very long, did it? But the good news was that I had made just over 10,000 credits, and 10,000 credits is an interesting number because it's the minimum required to purchase the other spacecraft in the game. You start out with a default Colonial Interceptor, it's kind of the medium model. You have the light version, which is a Scout, which allows you to use cloaking devices. It also has some other special features. There is the large one, the gunship, which has the big guns, but no shields. I'm not sure I like that idea, to be honest. But they are kind of worth unlocking because they give you more playstyles and therefore a bit more longevity. Later runs saw me getting even more badass. Eventually I started figuring out how to take down these corvettes. If you basically try to kill them, then the main problem is that their shields regenerate very quickly because they deploy all these shield drones. So you kind of need to sneak around, keep taking the shield drones down while you're being fired upon, and then somehow put enough firepower into the ship without getting hit. That is quite a tall order, to be honest, although I don't doubt that there are players out there that are demonstrating the ability to jink around and dodge all the firepower. I, on the other hand, decided to use the mainframe override ability. That meant that the drones would start fighting for me, even though I accidentally shot it. But yeah, now that let me sneak in a little closer, and if you're very careful, you can kind of stick your head out and attack the spacecraft, doing damage to it, while it can't fire upon you. Also, you'll notice that there's a couple of mining frigates, the mining company ships are hanging out, and they're adding some extra firepower to the whole thing. So yeah, just keeping fire on it, trying not to poke out too far, and the whole thing goes down, and I feel some pride in my great, I don't know, my great achievement of digging down these corvettes. And I got a cooldown mod blueprint. That lets me modify other items to reduce their cooldown time. So yeah, this is this stealth fighter that I mentioned earlier. It has a stealth capability that lets you stay invisible. Lets you, of course, sneak around and do things like hack the jump suppressor without alerting the defenses if you're smart about it. Get in, move out fast. But you can also use it in combat. You can get yourself all secret, they won't fire upon you. Line up some weapons, say take down the drone first, get in a good position. There we go. Fire that, kill the drone. Launch a missile at it. They have stasis missiles that basically lock the enemies down. So it doesn't kill them, but it keeps them still for long enough that you can burn through their shields with the existing weapon. There we go, that Outlaw Scout is still flying. The weapon systems are... There's a whole bunch of range of weapon systems in the game. They have different damage profiles for shields versus armor. And there are some weapons with charge or warm-up times. In this case, we have a lightning gun, or a shock rifle, sorry. We're gonna sneak in using the cloak and one-shot this target, quickly evening the odds. Now the heavy fighter, well, the heavy fighter is all about big guns. But yeah, I decided in this case to just take down one of these transports. Of course, if you attack any of these, you will have mining company fighters jump in, but I make short work of that thanks to my heavy missiles and my Gatling turret and my combat drone. As I pointed out, this does not have any shields, so you have to be a little more careful with managing how you attack things. And actually, oddly enough, for the heavy ship, you have to be better at dodging. Now this is me flying in third-person view. As I said, there's a VR option, there's a third-person option, and then there's a cockpit-free option as well. I actually think the third-person view is very usable. In fact, it helps with orientation a whole lot. I sometimes find in the cockpit views that some of the targeting icons or the scanner icons just kind of blend into the cockpit. There are also limited use secondary weapons like missiles, or in this case, the ARC 9000, which is basically insanely powerful blast. It looks very impressive, but I wasted it on a structure when I should have kept it back for dealing with the Okar forces, which eventually jump in if you hang around in a zone for too long. They are the stick to keep you moving through the game, even when you just don't have enough drive fuel to risk making that jump into the next sector. So yeah, Everspace is a very light, very fast game. It is a roguelike. You might not find the story particularly compelling. You might find that it gets kind of boring just grinding for cash to get to the next upgrade. I kind of wanted to like it more than I did. I'm gonna say that. I love the look. I love the sound. In VR, it is a bit motion sicky generating, but yeah, it looks fabulous, and it plays really fast and light, and maybe that is exactly the game you're looking for. So yeah, full game is available now, $30 on all the usual stores, including my favorite Good Old Games, which is DRM free. Until the next time, I'm Scott Manley. Fly safe.